everyone. Great day, everyone. How y'all doing today? I want to welcome you to the Talk to Me Chef podcast. I'm your host, Diamond McNulty, founder and CEO of Chef Diamond and Friends, where we teach families how to cook and the importance of healthy eating. And as you know, our mission at the Talk to Me Chef podcast is to do one thing. It's to highlight all things culinary, right? Where we meet with executive chefs, young chefs, home cooks, fitness experts, doctors, and nutritionists. We want to bring you all the information you need to make the right choices in your diet and in life. So today, we're having amazing guests. We have Dr. Ruchi. She's a professional in pediatrics at medicine at Northwestern University, right? So she is also working with Ann and Robert Lurie's Children's Hospital, Chicago. 20 years of experience as a board certified pediatrician and health researcher. Wow, all of this good stuff. That's what I'm talking about, right? Founding doctor for the Center for Food, Allergy, and Asthma Research, and an author of two amazing books, right? Food Allergy Experience and Food Without Fear. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring in Dr. Ruchi, and I just want to welcome her and I want to thank her for joining. Come on in, Dr. Ruchi. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Chef Diamond.
Uh,
Thank you so much for having me.
yeah, thank you for joining me. I love that. All that experience. That's what I'm talking about. That's a life well lived, right?
Yeah, well, the journey's still going. We got a lot more to do, right? Yeah.
Man, you are in the sweet spot. You're in the sweet spot because you have a key position to make an impact on a lot of lives, right?
Yeah.
So today I want to touch on, not only do I want to touch on the food allergy experience and um, just your career path, but I also want to learn a little bit more about yourself, your upbringing, and how all this became about. So let's talk about your upbringing.
So, interestingly, I was actually born in India,
Oh,
and I moved to the US when I was only 2. So, I don't really remember too much of it, but
yeah.
I moved with my parents to Florida, actually, when I was 2 years old. And then we
Yeah.
moved to Kentucky a year later because my dad was an architect and he got a job there. My mom was an accountant. And so we
Mhm.
moved to Louisville, Kentucky. And that is where I spent the next, the rest of my, childhood. And
Wow.
yeah, I was an only child for 8 years. Then my sister was born, and it's the two of us. And learning to navigate as a, like not, my parents didn't really know how to navigate, the U.S. and with kids and as kids of immigrant parents,
Yeah.
learning the ropes as we grew up here, kind of different and not very similar to our peers. But just had a great time learning and doing it, and struggled and advanced, and did the whole journey.
Yeah, that is special. Wow. So when you think about that, just navigating the US, I know that couldn't have been easy at all, right? Um, so how was your school experience in regards to navigating those different locations?
Yeah, so most of it was in Louisville, Kentucky. So I went,
Okay.
to school there from elementary through high school, and it was good. I mean, it was hard. Yeah, there was definitely bullying and people not really knowing who you are or what you are, and my parents not knowing, like how I should dress or look. So, but what was so beautiful with all of it, getting teased and made fun of, and but then having some really good friends, some really
Yeah.
great people who support you. And I think, one of the biggest things I've learned and grown through all of that is you just need a couple good friends, that
Mm,
have your back. And for families out there and kids, now I have my own kids, a support structure, between your friends as you get older is really, really critical. And
wow.
how you can navigate the world with them, because you don't always tell your parents about everything, or want to come home and complain when they're working so hard that you're getting made fun of, or you need a new pair of shoes, or all of that. So you learn how to work through all of those issues on your own a lot. But
Wow.
having those close friendships, I think, are so important.
That is special. Wow. So when you think about it, like you said, community, having someone else
Yeah,
to go to, right?
yes, yeah.
Having those friends and, even mentors to a degree, right? You may have had teachers. Was there
Yes.
any mentors that you had that influenced you throughout that time?
Oh my goodness, yes. I think back to some of my favorite teachers during that time. When you were having a hard time, it's so helpful for someone to notice it who is, a teacher or someone in your school who can pull you aside and, validate you. I see what's happening, and I want to support you, and that is really special because um, they're watching, and also,
Mhm.
like, to be an upstander, and I'm learning these words now, not a bystander
Yeah.
but a upstander, and step in and support what you're going through. And I think that was really, really important for me. I mean, I know in elementary school it was the hardest because I
Mhm.
was very young, and my parents both worked full time, and were just had crazy jobs, and you don't want to complain, but I
Mhm.
definitely did not dress the right way. And I definitely got teased and bullied and um, made fun of to a large degree. But then I remember this one teacher, she was actually my first grade teacher, really coming into the hallway and pulling me aside and talking to me and talking to the other students. And it's not like it stopped, but just having someone witness and validate was so nice, knowing you could go into her classroom and just sit there for a while and be there. But then as time went on, I learned, and I
Mhm.
grew. And, through middle school and high school, it was challenging, but I feel like it got a lot easier. I had really good friends.
Mhm.
You start forming your social network. And yeah, I had a little sister, which was always fun. And then through high school, I switched high schools and was in a all girls high school, and that
Mhm.
was actually really, really nice. It was like a Catholic all girls school, and I feel like there I really came out of my shell. I started
Yeah.
doing acting. Like, I love acting. I love public speaking. And I was able to succeed at a lot of these things that I never thought
Mm.
so I wasn't shy anymore. I
Wow.
found my voice, and it was just a great experience that helped launch me.
So now talk about that journey, right? And public speaking, what you potentially used right now
Yeah.
in your career path, right? So throughout elementary school and high school, where did the passion for food or the passion just to become a doctor come from? Did that start at your younger years, or did that start in high school when you had to make your transition into college?
Yeah, I feel like it started in middle school where, you
Mm.
start learning about careers. And I really enjoyed the idea of medicine. And I actually enjoyed a lot of the dissections we would do and learning about the human, or learning about the body. And then through high school, I was drawn into, like, I loved science. And
Mm.
that was what I excelled at more. And so being a doctor started there. And we, like, my parents were not doctors. We knew doctors in the community. Just the idea of supporting and helping in some way, and health, that was such a big deal, right? Like, so many health issues. And I loved my pediatrician, and like, I'm like, oh wow, how cool to be able to do that every day. So it started there. And then when I was in high school, I also, really loved this whole new area of drama and public speaking. I'm like, how do I fit these things together? So for a while, I
Mhm.
thought I wanted to
Mhm.
go into acting. I loved acting, and I'm like, wow, that would be so cool too. So it's important to know that you may not always know. And it's
Mhm.
good to pivot. It's okay to pivot. It's okay going in
Yeah.
thinking you want to do one thing and coming out wanting to do something else, because as you go through life, you start finding your passions, and, oh, wow, I really
Mhm.
like this. And maybe I should pivot in this direction. And, one thing, if you have parents and students, I think it is really important to know you don't have to decide the rest of your life right now.
Mm.
And, you
Mm.
should. try things. And as you go through college, try things and see what draws you in. And I think it's a combination of your own personal strengths. We all
Yeah.
have things we know we're good at, right? And we have things we
Yeah.
know we're not good at. So
That's
um,
true.
using your personal strengths along with your passions, right? If you
Yeah.
can combine those, you are going to succeed doing whatever,
Mm.
it is that brings those things together. But finding those isn't always easy. So give yourself space and give yourself grace and give yourself time, to let that evolve. And, as you were talking to me, I'm like, I'm not done. I'm still finding
Yeah.
things I
Yeah.
love and new passions and new interests and pivoting in different directions that I think I can have the biggest positive impact on the world with, right? That's our end goal.
Yeah.
You want to come into this world and make a positive impact, and so, yeah.
No, that is you hit that the hammer to the nail right there. That's the purpose, right? The purpose is what you leave behind, that impact that you make on this world. And I love how you connected the dots. And it's interesting that you were even aware at a young age, right? So you were like, I like science. Okay, I like speaking. And you were kind of churning, figuring it out. And so what was that conversation like with your parents what age was it like, I want to go to medical school. This is the pathway.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because um, being immigrant parents, I was also kind of led to medicine. They wanted me to go into this
Mm,
field. They thought it would be a great field for me, and so I know a lot of families, where and I do it with my kids. Like, what do I think would be best for them versus what do they think would be best for them? And I think we all struggle with this as parents. How much influence do you have, or how much do you let them develop it on their own? And
mhm.
so I'll be honest. It was them saying, I think this is what you should do. Luckily, I liked science and I liked the idea,
Yeah.
so it worked well. But I'll tell you, when I went into it, so I got into a program in my hometown. It was a guaranteed entrance to medical school. So you get in a high school and then you stay there for 8 years. And and it's a full scholarship, full ride. I really wanted to leave and go somewhere and explore the world and go to a university, far, far away. But, you know,
Mhm.
we weren't, like we didn't have a ton. And so to get a full ride to college and med school was a really big deal. And so I stuck around and
Yes.
I started. But in college, I think, and again, to the families out here, I don't want to just be telling my story. I want to tell my learnings. But in college, I explored a ton and I learned I really like making change, right? Just like you're
Yeah.
doing, and
Mhm.
policy change. How can we like improve on things that are happening in our world? And it starts with like, and this is what I try to teach all the students I mentor is curiosity and ask questions, challenge things. If it's been done this way for, you know, a generation, it doesn't mean it has to keep being done that way. Is there a better way?
Definitely.
And so I learned I really like that. I liked leadership. I liked policy. I liked um, research. I like checking things out and experimenting and seeing, okay, well, it's been done this way. Well, where's the data? Like, who said? And where is the information? So again, for people listening, just challenge things, question things, find the research behind it. Where is the data that shows that this is the best way to do things? And if you have another idea, try it out and make things better.
Mhm.
So I did a lot of that in college. And then I ended up going to Boston. I got an opportunity to go do research in Boston. And that was really eye opening for me because I'd never been outside my little city of Louisville. And
Mhm.
it expanded my world. So I also do encourage people to venture if you can.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of things that go into that, but if you have the ability to venture out, see the world, see different cities, states, how they do things, it opens your mind in
Mhm.
so many directions. So
Big.
yeah.
It's important. Literally, it's so important for you to get away and get out there and see what the world has to offer.
Yes, I fully believe it, because when I came back from Boston, it was really hard for me to start med school in Louisville again, because I really just wanted to just keep exploring, you know. So
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest, because I don't want my story to look like, you know, how I got here wasn't easy, and I didn't always love everything I did, and med
Mhm.
school was really hard, really, really hard. And I you know, was so used to being top of my class, and all of a sudden everyone was like really smart and really hardworking. Um and I realized in med school that I didn't have to just push, push, push to try to be there,
Mhm.
because it's okay, you know, to like not be the best, you know, and it's
Yeah.
okay to find your place. And what I found in med school that I was really good at was the same stuff. Like, I loved going to
Mhm.
elementary schools, like their programs, the giving back programs. We would go to elementary schools and we would teach, and middle schools, and we would teach them. We would take hearts and brains and get them all excited about science. And I loved working with students who never dreamed that this could be something they could do. That brought me the greatest joy, not sitting and studying um,
Yeah.
biochemistry, or, you know. So I would spend my time doing other activities in med school, and I was okay with
Mhm.
being middle of the pack, you know, with like
Mm.
grades. But what gave me great joy was teaching and mentoring and advocating. I started different programs in my med school, and
Mhm.
I took on leadership roles,
Mhm.
and worked on policy changes in so many different areas. I applied for my first grant because, you know, I would work in the emergency room in medical school, I remember, and um, a lot of times you would face families who came in who had been abused, right? And
Mhm.
children. And it was, you know, they just send you in, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't even know how to navigate this. And uh,
Mhm.
so and then you would see so much domestic violence. And so I wrote a grant to make my first research project, to make a little handbook for trainees,
Mhm.
where it
Mhm.
had questions and how to ask them, and resources to give them, and
Wow.
did all the research around it. And it was in our emergency rooms and for every medical student for years. And then they made another
Wow.
edition. And I was so proud of that, because you
Yeah.
find yourself in these positions where you're like, I know I'm not doing a good job, because no one's trained me
Mhm.
on this, and I don't know what to do in these kind of situations. But then
Mhm.
you can do something, you know? So that was
Mm.
so fulfilling, that I was like, okay, maybe I want to like be a doctor, but I want to do more than just be a doctor, you know, like, not that being a
Yeah.
doctor is enough, it's plenty, but like, I didn't feel that to be like, I love seeing patients, but
Yeah.
I really loved research and advocacy is what I was starting to,
Gotcha. Yeah, you found that sweet spot.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
work.
And you know, something that you said that stood out to me is with the youth, because we both love working with the youth. And you
Yes,
became a seed sower, you know, because when I was younger, and you know, I came up in the Chicago youth programs, and I had doctors that mentored me. And when I got in around them, just that energy, just seeing what they become, it was a seed that was planted inside me, a possibility. So that is awesome. And then
yes,
you figured out problems and solutions. So you saw a couple problems and you said, I can make a change in that. So that's
yes,
special. Hello, my name is Diamond McNulty. I'm the executive chef here at Chef Diamond and Friends, and I want to welcome you to our amazing programming. We have at school programming where we have weekly or monthly programming, and we also have our Meet the Chef experience where our chef come out and meet with the students and have book signings as well. At home, we have homeschool throughout the day, we have after school, and we also have family engagements on Friday. So no matter if you are a young chef, mighty chef, or if you are diamond chef, we want to see you inside of the kitchen. We want you to compete in our champion chef competitions, and we want to have you be featured in our Young Chef magazine. So I look forward to meeting with you, chefs. Visit www.chefdiamondandfriends.com. Can't wait to see you inside of the kitchen. Take care. Have a wonderful day. So
yeah.
how did you continue on that pathway?
then, so I love kids like you know, we love mentoring
Mhm.
and supporting young minds. And so I went into peds. I knew
Mm.
pediatrics was where I belonged. And then I went to do my residency after medical school in Seattle. So I did go far, far away.
Yeah.
And it was awesome at the University of Washington. And there that was such a great research center. So I
Yeah.
learned the power of research and public health research.
Mm.
I didn't like the basic science. I couldn't do the, mice research, et cetera, but I loved public health research. It was so powerful.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is, understanding the disease in the population, so,
Yeah.
I started with asthma, and I noticed that in different populations, it impacted kids differently. And I wanted to know
Mm.
why some kids ended up at the hospital more than others,
Yeah.
why some kids couldn't get their medications, or the right
Mhm.
ones, what was happening. And so I started there, and I
Yeah.
really, really enjoyed it. And after residency, we moved to Boston. And I was
Okay.
fortunate um, there to I felt like such an imposter being at Harvard, but I was able to get into a fellowship program and get my
Yeah.
master's of public health there, and learn research in the most
Yeah.
powerful way possible. And that, honestly, as I said in med school, I'm not no one. I don't think we can say someone is just smart or really
Yeah.
bright, and that's why I keep bringing it back to whatever you're really passionate about, you will excel in, and it might not
Mm.
be grades or, like, getting like straight A's, but whatever it is, just know, like, a lot of us who you may think made it, it
Mhm.
wasn't like we were the brightest in the class or the
Yeah.
best at everything, but we found what we were passionate and good at, and went.
Mhm.
And so being at a place like Harvard was, mind blowing for me. And the other big thing is this whole imposter syndrome that we know about now. We got to get rid of it, because
Yeah.
people, you belong where you are. And
Yeah.
um, me and you,
Yeah.
we'll tell students that. But I
Yeah.
really think that's the best part of mentorship, because they know there's somebody, like you said, who was it who supported you,
Yeah.
right? Who was it that said, yes,
Mhm.
you're okay, and you can do this, and you do belong here. So,
Yes.
yeah. So then I was in Boston and learned research, got my master's in public health, and
Wow.
I got very, very interested in equity and
Mm.
uh, following up on that asthma equity and equity in childcare. And I did a lot of different studies while I was in Boston, where it wasn't around food at all. So I haven't even
Yeah.
gotten to the food part. But
That's
after that,
awesome.
yeah, after that, I moved to Chicago, to study under one of the best groups that did asthma disparities, and that's why I
Mm.
moved to Chicago and took a job. But one other story I wanna tell you, and any of the especially the kids listening, when I was in Boston feeling like an imposter, doing this research job, I had my son. So I was, a mom, I was trying to get this fellowship done, and, I was trying to do the best I could, right? I was, like,
Mhm.
nervous that I wasn't keeping up with these Harvard types. And um, my mentor in Boston, or no, not my mentor, the head of our program, our research program, they were
Mhm.
looking for someone for a position there. And
Yeah.
I wanted to apply. I wanted to, work at Harvard. And I went into her office and asked, and she was very honest with me and told me that she did not think I was a
Wow.
researcher and I could
Wow.
have a research career. And she was very clear. I'm not a typical researcher, like
Yeah.
but
But you bring something sweet to the mix.
yeah, but that really, really hurt and
Yeah.
really kind of destroyed me for a moment. Um,
Yeah.
but just like you said, some people will believe in you. Some people will tell you you can't. You're no good at
Mhm.
this. And so knowing that that happens and it's
Wow.
okay. I mean, you're gonna
Yeah.
get the naysayers, you're gonna get the supporters, and you have to figure out what you wanna do with that. And sometimes
Mm.
it knocks you down. It did knock me down. I was like, "Okay, I need to rethink my world, and, maybe this
Yeah.
isn't for me." Um, and that went on for a while. Maybe I should just, like be a pediatrician and see kids every
Wow.
day. So then I was already on the trail, and Chicago said, well, we'll take a chance on you. And I'm like, well, I mean,
Mm,
I'll take a chance on this and see. And so now I'm definitely a researcher. So,
that is awesome.
yeah.
Well, all
So
you need is one. All you need is that one yes, that one opportunity, that
yes,
individual that believes in you. So that's great.
yes.
Wow. Is there
And
before we even continue
listen
with that?
always. Yeah. To the
Don't
naysayers.
don't listen to the naysayers. Know
No.
what to take in. Know what to let out. You know. So
Yes.
and
That's
throughout my
beautiful.
journey, I've had all type. Right. So when I wrote my first book, one individual was like, maybe you should do videos instead. And here I am now with over, so
Yeah.
many of them. But
Yes.
that's okay. They don't see the vision, but you see it, and it's inside of you.
Yes.
Before
And
we even
sometimes
continue on
it
that,
fuels you,
mhm.
right? Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm going to show them. Like,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah,
You just
that's when
wait.
you turn it up.
Yeah.
Wait till you see me in 5 to 10 years.
Yes. Yeah. Then talk to me. Yeah. Exactly. So,
Right, send them,
yeah.
send them a message.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh,
That that is awesome. The top in the world. No, when you think about that too, is there any advice that you would give, you know, high schoolers, college students in
yeah.
those areas of life currently?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I do a lot of what we've already talked about, just
Mhm,
know that every single person you meet that you think is super successful has their ups and downs, right? They
mhm,
have been, kicked down and got back up. I mean, I think it's just really what you said in the beginning, like have good mentors, have people around you, your support structure. So when you get knocked down, you have people who help pick you back up, you know? And most of all, take time for yourself to learn you, right? To go inside.
mhm,
I really believe like the younger you learn these skills, to truly
mhm,
give yourself time and space to better understand who you are, what you love,
mhm,
and not just listen to people on the outside telling you, but listen to them, what they think you're good at. But take time to learn yourself. And I don't think we do that enough. We're bombarded social media and
mhm,
screens everywhere, but I
mhm,
would say that is one of the most critical things, because a lot of times we go through life just seeing what people think we should do and what people think of us, and not
mhm.
really focusing on what we think of us and what we think we
Right.
should be into. So that is one of the most important things. And then, yeah, know that nothing, if you love something today and hate it tomorrow, it's okay to pivot, right? You can switch in and out of things and follow your heart. Like just follow your true love, because just like me and you want a job,
Mhm.
you want a career, you want something that you go to work every day. Everything's not fun, but your end goal, you see it clearly and you are so passionate and into it, right? And you don't,
Yeah.
too many people just do a job to make money and bring it home
Mhm.
and then so glad that it's over. And
Yeah.
um, your goal should be to have that job that you're so passionate and love being there every day,
Mhm.
knowing that you are following your passion, you're following, what you enjoy, and you're making that impact you want to make on the world.
Yes, yes, and that's a journey, like you said. It's in different parts of the journey. You're gonna figure out new things, and you may shift it, but you gotta listen to you. So that's so important when you said that. That really resonated with me because I had to listen to me along the way, right? Because you got to make the decision, or you have to live with the decision more
Yes.
than anything. That's
Yeah.
the so throughout that journey. Is there any books that you've read that impacted you?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I love reading. Like I think reading these type books. I don't know what you call them, motivational books or self help
Yeah.
books, were it was so good for me because I didn't understand like the power of the mind and the heart and your inner, and I started to learn it. So one of the first ones I read around that time, it's called the Celestine Prophecy. And it is a book. It's like a storybook, so it was really easy to read, but it goes through like 7 truths. So like one of the first ones was nothing's a coincidence, right? So there are no coincidences in the world. One other thing I would say from that is if something happens and you have this feeling, like go with it, right? Like there's everything is happening to get you on your path, I feel like. And don't think, oh, that was just a coincidence. I bumped into so and so, or if you're thinking about something and it comes up in front of you, like things are happening to guide you. So take a pause, see what you want to do with that, and what it may be telling you. And that's where I'm like, listen to yourself, because I think so many times we listen to our parents, which we should, and our elders and our teachers and what they think of us and what they think we should be doing but following that. And then it talks a lot about the energy you put out into the world, right? Like that energy which we all have, and how to know what energy you have and where it's coming, and how to take care of it, if you're feeling how you're feeling. And so that was one of them. Then I've been reading a lot of Eckhart Tolle. I mean, these are pretty, the power of now, like everything is moving so fast. So how do you just enjoy the simple things? I'm just enjoying and being here and present with you, Chef Diamond, and having a great conversation and not thinking about my next meeting, or not, like how do you get your mind to stay in the moment? Yeah. And focus it. The other person I love is, I love Oprah, and she has some great books. The Path Made Clear. I love Maya Angelou, all her work. I mean, her quotes are on every slide deck I have. Her biggest one that I truly believe in is, when you learn, teach, and when you get, give. And if we could all, just do a little bit of that, like if we've been so fortunate to be given so much learnings, how do I give it back? And same with just anything you get, like how do you, like it's not about us, it's about the next generation and growing them and building them. And so so love, both of them are my heroes and stars. But those are some of my books that I enjoy.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, because like you said, at some point your cup overflows, right? And you're full. So it's important that you sow into others. It's important that you identify your gifts, know your passions, know your purpose in life, and then begin pouring into others. Now you're making a difference in this world. So here you are, right? On this journey, and you get to a point in your life where you just figured out who you are. And so now you're entering into the space where you want to create the food allergy experience. So where did the inkling come from where you wanted to write a book?
Yeah. So how I got into the food allergy world. So let me just quickly, yes, I'm in Chicago now. I'm studying asthma disparities. And this is where those coincidences happen. So this family who had 2 kids with food allergies came to me, and they were talking a lot about how hard food allergies were. And this is back in 2004, right? It was just this whole epidemic of food allergies was just starting. And I was really moved by their passion and their interest in making a difference in this space. And they taught me a lot about how little there was out there. So I started doing my research and understanding that, we know a lot about asthma, but we knew almost nothing about food allergies. We didn't even know how many people had it, what kinds of allergies. Like there was no data being collected on this. And so I had just gotten trained with my master's in public health. And I was like, oh, I know how to do this kind of research. So maybe this is a space where I can have an impact. So again, it's like, I didn't know if I was passionate about it, but hey, it's a space that needs my time. So let me do something good. So I started, we wrote the first prevalence study showing that 8% of kids have food allergies, 1 in 13. We wrote about what those were, the peanuts, tree nuts, milk, egg, shellfish, finfish, soy, wheat, now sesame. So we're describing it. We describe disparities. We got the first NIH grant to look at food allergies in different racial and ethnic groups. So it all just started happening. And then 3 years into it, I was only, now we're at 2006, 2007. My son, who, I told you was born in Boston, so he loved peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. He ate them every day. And my daughter, who was 1, who was playing with her and must have gotten some in her mouth. And all of a sudden she broke out in hives, vomited. And now I am a mother of a child who has food allergies. And before that, she had the biggest risk factors we know now: eczema, severe eczema. She had terrible cradle cap. And so I started working really, really hard to try to figure out how to not use like steroid creams. And so eczema became part of my research area. This is my other pivot. I don't even know if you know, I created this group of ingredients, which we call Yobi. It's turmeric, vitamin B12, the good bacteria, and honey, and then a lot of other ingredients. But I used it on her and it worked. And then I used it on my patients for 10 years. And then Northwestern said, do you want to share it with the world? And so we have a startup now. So now I'm an entrepreneur all of a sudden.
Awesome.
And I guess, yeah. Now I'm founder of Yobi, which is like, my goal is with that to keep people from using like harsh chemicals. We're using all kinds of stuff on ourselves, and we don't know what it's doing to our microbiome and this protective layer. So anyway, that's a pivot I took. But food allergies. So then now I'm a parent of a kid with food allergies. I'm studying it and I'm seeing patients with it. So it's become my whole world. And the book came out of, I was asked to speak at a support group meeting. And I'll never forget this night. I was sitting with a bunch of mainly, moms and a couple dads, and going over a lot of data on food allergy. And they said, can you please tell this to my mother-in-law or my mom, because they don't believe us. They think we're being too strict and we're just helicoptering. And so many of them, was right before Thanksgiving, and they're like, we can't go to Thanksgiving dinner because they won't make it safe for my child. And that broke my heart. And I mean, tissue boxes came out. I mean, this is what support groups are for. Everybody was sharing. But that's when I went home and thought, okay, they need me to make something that validates this real condition, this real disease. And that's when we wrote it together. So it was me. I'm also a mom, but a doctor, and she is running a support group and helping families. And how do we validate it, have something that they can share? And then the second book just came out during COVID, because people are like, okay, cool. You taught us about kids. What about adults? Like, how many adults have food? Actually, more adults have food allergy than kids. It's 1 in 10. 1 in 10 adults. But the problem in adults is we don't go to the doctor as much. If we eat something, we'll just avoid it and be like, oh, all right, that, I didn't like that. I must have a food allergy. So only about 1 in 5 were going to a doctor to check it out. So the second book came about because I think it's very, very important for people to understand all the different food issues. There's intolerances, there's oral allergy syndrome, there's real food allergies, there's GI things, celiac. How do you know what you have? And so the second book, Food Without Fear, is really to help you on your journey on knowing what's going on inside your body.
And when I opened both books, especially Food Without Fear, I was in it. And it was like, wow, as a chef, and it's one thing that we talked about and we connected with at the Chicago Youth Programs event, because chefs, we're in a crucial space where we deal with food. So when others are coming out to restaurants and we have our stations where we're making sure that those that come out, it matters, because they want their kids to have a safe experience more than anything. So so what you created is so important, because it not only helps the average individual, it also helps us chefs pay attention more as well. So thank you for that. And last thing I'll touch on is what you're saying is the path made clear. Your path was made
Yes.
clear and you just followed it.
Well,
Wow.
you just keep following it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not a done deal. Every day you decide which way to go, right? And where to spend your
Hmm.
time and energy. And so your path
Wow.
keeps becoming, like it's a daily exercise, so no one should think
Wow.
that it's done. You just follow your heart. And for all the kids, the other thing is, I think I sent you some of those books. So for the kids
Hmm.
about food allergies, we created this land of can. So back to what we talked about, like a place where it's about what you can do and your
Mm.
strengths. And so
Yeah.
um so that nonprofit, I would love to share with families, like, in
Hmm.
schools. If you have schools, we'll send them to the schools. But the land of can, and we wrote on food allergy, but then nutrition, in a way that kids
Hmm.
and parents and schools could teach about health conditions, or health issues in an understandable, fun way. So
Hmm.
like, you just keep going. And if you have the ability to do something, that you think can help, you just, and the biggest thing, and this better than anyone, is you surround yourself with a great team. Like, I didn't do all of
Hmm.
this. Every single thing
Hmm.
was a team. Every single
Hmm.
project is a team. So don't ever, it's not about you, it's about the end
Hmm.
game. And yeah, and how do you be a part of it with an incredible team? I get to be on this
Yeah.
today, but it could have been anyone on our team talking about the same
Yes.
exact thing,
Yes.
so surround yourself, don't do it alone, build
Exactly.
teams,
Yes.
and yeah, go for it.
Yes, and I met the entire team, and
Yeah,
everyone had an amazing story. And you see the passion, right?
yeah,
So to be on a team with everyone who's passionate about it because they have their own experiences. And like you said, they all have stories. Literally, I asked all of them too, because we have to tell these stories, and that's why I thank you for joining me today. Because a lot of times you're doing your research, and you rarely get to hear not only your journey but the things that you've created and why you created it. So that's so important. Now, let's talk about the go forward plan in the future. What's the future for yourself? And then also, what's your future for what you're creating?
wow. So for myself, so my two kids, I'm an empty nester now. My son's in grad school in New York, and my daughter went off to college. So I
Yes.
think about that. What do I want? What's this next journey? So
Mhm.
my husband and I are, chatting about that a lot. But right now, like, it has given me more time. I'm really loving learning business and entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
Research, I'm never going to leave that CFAR,
Yes.
our center, and all the work we do, but it's giving me more time to learn this new world, right? Because I always didn't understand business, but, like, we can do only so much in research, and then we need
Mhm.
industry to take what we find and put it out into the world. So
Mhm.
this my new startup, Yobi, is like something that I'm really excited to see if we can change the way people think about
Yeah.
what they put on their skin and their scalp,
Yeah.
and do it in a more healthier way, and not need 100 products. Like, it's for babies to elderly. It's so safe,
Mhm.
so you don't need
Wow.
10 products for your face, and like one for your baby and your
Mhm.
kids and like everyone. Like, it is simpler than that, and I think we've
Wow.
complicated so much. So I think that's exciting for me. For CFAR, I'm super excited because we are studying, and this is one thing for all the parents, especially if you're new parents. One of the
Mhm.
biggest things we're learning, and part of our research, is not only that public health, epi, and disparities, but we're also understanding how to prevent and treat food allergies. And we're living in an amazing time where, in the 20 years I've been studying this, we now know a lot about prevention. So if you have a new
Yes.
baby, it's so important, one, to protect their skin if they have eczema,
Yes.
and then two, to start introducing foods to them early. Things
Yes.
like peanut, we know, egg, and then we're doing a study looking at all allergenic foods.
Yes.
And it is, I think, one of my big things that I want to change in the world is we medicalize too much around babies.
Mm,
We give you so many rules. Introduce one food, wait 3 to 5 days, then introduce you don't need that. Why are we doing that? Most of the world, babies eat whatever the parents are eating, kind of chewed up, or like
mhm.
with lots of flavors and lots of ingredients. And it's important for babies while their immune system is developing to be exposed to more things, to be exposed to dirt. We talk about like get their microbiome, like play outside,
Yes,
not use
yes,
all the cleansers and antibacterial. So I'm really excited to continue to work in that space and really learn more about
mhm,
it and switch this. Like I feel like the pendulum,
yes,
yeah, there were a lot of disease and then we became really clean and very
yes,
medicalized. But now we need to get back into the middle and,
yes.
balance it. So
Mhm.
that, and then treatments. There's new treatments for food allergy now.
Wow.
So
Wow.
you don't have to live with it. It's such a, like there are ways we can get rid of it or at least control it.
Yeah.
So I think that's really exciting in our field right now too. So a lot of different paths for me personally,
Wow.
and then for my hopeful goals of what I want to do. And I mean, in the end, it's what you're doing. Like, how do we give back more? How do we do more
Yeah.
for our community? So we have a mentorship program. So if you have any high school students who are interested, we have a 1 week program in the summer where we kind of teach you public health and research and how to make change in your communities.
Mm,
You find
wow.
something that you want to change, and we'll help teach you, how and support you. So that's a program we have in the summer. We have one for college students too, where it's
Yeah.
a paid internship in the summer.
Yeah.
So again, getting more involved with research. So trying to do more more things for the youth to like learn and understand, what paths are in this space. Because
Yes.
I didn't know research was like a path when I was in high school, so
Yes.
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 So giving back
No.
more, I guess that would be the ultimate. I heard this thing from one of my mentors. She said, the first 30 years you learn, the next 30 you earn, and the next 30 you return. And I don't think it's
Mm,
exact. You do a little bit of all of it, but like it's kind of
mhm,
cool, right? You are learning, then you're
mhm. You're
in the
earning.
world, and then you're just giving back. But if you can give back throughout, I think that's what
Yes.
we're all trying to do.
Yes, yeah, I've done it throughout the entire journey. So, like you said, it's different parts and at different times that you're able to do it. I'm thankful that I was able to give back while I was on that journey, right?
Yes,
So, because I understood it, because I was a recipient of
yes,
those who did the same thing. And when you receive someone to pour into you, you want to do it more and more.
yes,
So, like
yeah,
like that teacher that poured into you, right?
yeah. Oh yeah,
And I love that you have so many offerings, right, available to the masses. And sometimes it's hidden. It's like, how do you get the word out? So all of the parents that need to know, and all of the students that if you love science right now and you know that you like doing those papers and research, this is a pathway for you to become successful in life. And
yes,
there's an opportunity right there. All you got to do is show up.
yes.
That's it.
And so please, anyone who wants to reach out, I know you're going to give my info at the end or the
Mhm.
CFAR, but we are starting programs even for middle school students and elementary students. So where you can do something in your school, like on your own, and
Mm.
we give you kind of the guidance to help you. And then of course the high schoolers and then college students even. So we do, if you are interested and you don't know, like, but you like this idea of making change in health, then you definitely reach out to us. We'd love to get everyone who has this desire, like some mentorship and support.
That is special. Is there one thing throughout your journey, not only just educational, but is there one thing or two things that you would like to leave behind to anyone that may be listening?
I would love for people to know that it's, first of all, it is a journey, right? It's not a race. Pace yourself and know that um, it's a journey, and you are going to hit bumps and you just
Mm,
keep going, right? Like nothing
mm,
is a clear path. It is
mm,
there's rocks and trees and there's things you're going to come up against. And
yeah,
every single person does. And I think a lot of times we look at successful people and we're like, oh, it's so easy for them. Or, oh,
right.
like, oh, well, they had all this, and they were able to, and I wish more people would be vulnerable and tell their stories, of failure, because you're going to fail. And those are the most powerful moments, because when you are challenged, that's when you grow the most.
Yeah,
And so, I guess for me, when I would look at successful people, I'd be like, wow, they're so great. They're so smart. I could never do that. That's not
mm,
me. I'm not that smart. I'm not, that good at stuff. But just know that no one got there easy. And
mhm,
everyone had a lot of, you know, challenges on their way. And if people could open up to that and you could hear it,
mhm.
so be vulnerable, be
Yeah,
open. You don't always have to act like you got it all figured out, And
yeah,
then to your point, I mean, every step of the way, keep giving back.
yeah.
I tell you, you get more satisfaction. You know this, you do it every day, but more
Mhm.
satisfaction out of that than anything you get for yourself. Like
Definitely.
if you have influence to help students, that's your
Mhm.
legacy, right? You're helping
Yeah.
grow the next generation, to be change makers.
Mhm.
So just keep looking behind you as you move forward, and keep
Yeah.
pulling people up. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's passing the baton. And your
Mhm.
journey is special. Like you said, your parents started off, right? Immigrants here, building. They worked hard. They were able to have their careers and they positioned you. I loved how they poured into you, right? And they gave you that insight because I have friends whose parents and when I asked the young man, okay, what are you going to do for college? He said, I'm going to follow in my father's footsteps. So that
Yeah.
influence from a parent to inspire you really matters. And the last thing I say, compounding successes is what I hear when what you just said, right? Continue to put it all together. That's all that matters. Put it all together. So, Dr. Ruchi, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Everyone else call you Dr. Gupta.
I like Dr. Reed.
I say
I love
I
it.
say Dr. Ruchi, So I
Yeah.
love it. So I love your journey. I love your energy, your spirit. I want to thank you for all that you've done. I'm here if you have any questions on entrepreneurship. I
Yeah.
love.
Love it.
But
I need your help. Yeah. But I appreciate
come
you
on.
and everything you're doing for the world. And I'm so happy to be a small part of it. So thank you.
Yeah, it's time to make a big difference. So for everyone that is watching, if you have any questions, I'm definitely going to add the information. Is there a particular location that you'd like anyone to send it?
Yeah. I mean, our website is CFAR, CFAAR .northwestern.edu. So
Perfect.
check it out. We have a lot of resources and things on there, and then you can reach out to us and send us a message there, and it'll come to me. It'll all trickle into me. But if you have any specific questions about the programs or the things we do, and then the products are Yobee, YOBEE, and it's yobecare.com if anyone wants to check it
Mm,
or has any
mhm.
questions about those too. So, and then the books, it's thelandofcan.com. But please reach out, because that is a nonprofit and we are happy to share with schools and um, trying to, get good health information out there. So yeah, there's a lot of websites. I can give them to you.
I, I love it. I'll add it to the site. I'll make sure I get it to everyone. But the solutions are here. That's why we're having this discussion. So everyone in the culinary space, whether you're a chef, whether you're in a position to educate others, the solutions are here. No longer should there be an issue with food allergy, right? So we have the food allergy experience. It's
Yeah.
already here. Amazing book, right? We have Food Without Fear. Get your copies, but be sure to reach out if you have any additional questions because there are professionals like Dr. Ruchi here that
Yeah.
is open to support.
Yes.
Myself, Chef Diamond here, and I will see y'all next time inside the kitchen.
Yes.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
y'all. Thank
Bye.
you.